Thought I was too smart for an abusive relationship. Then I met the man who changed everything. I used to think I was too smart to end up with someone like him. I had the degree, the career, the friends who'd tell me if I was making a mistake. I'd spent my 20s watching other women fall for men who drained them dry. And I'd promised myself, never me. Then I met Ryan. He wasn't obvious about it. That's the first thing people don't understand. Men like him don't show up with warning labels. They show up with thoughtful gifts and inside jokes and plausible explanations. We met at a work conference. He was charming in that understated way, attentive without seeming desperate, confident without arrogance. He remembered small details about what I said. He asked follow-up questions. By our third date, I was telling my sister, this one's different. She looked relieved. I'd been single for 3 years after a string of mediocre relationships. Just be careful, she said. I laughed. I'm 34. I know what I'm doing. I didn't. The first incident happened 6 months and we were at dinner with my colleagues when my boss complimented a presentation I'd given that day. Nothing extravagant, just a quick Lena knocked it out of the park today. Ryan smiled along, squeezed my shoulder, but in the car afterward, he was silent. You okay? I asked. You didn't mention you were giving a presentation today. His tone was casual. Just curious, didn't I? It was just a quarterly review. No big deal, right? He stared at the road ahead. It's just weird that you'd tell everyone else but not your boyfriend. I didn't tell everyone else. It was literally my job. He sighed. I'm not attacking you. I just thought we shared things. I found myself apologizing, then recounting every detail of the presentation to prove I wasn't hiding anything. By the time we got home, I was exhausted, and he was fine again, kissing my forehead, telling me he was proud of me. I chalked it up to insecurity. A 1-off. It wasn't. 3 weeks later, I was late coming home from work. Market research presentation ran long, then drinks with the client. Standard stuff. I walked in to find him sitting in the dark. Where were you? He asked. I flipped on the lights. Work thing. I texted you 4 hours ago. Then nothing. My phone died. I set down my bag. Why are you sitting in the dark? Thinking about us. He looked up, eyes glossy. About whether you're really invested in this relationship. What are you talking about? This is the 3rd time this week you've been late. You don't answer my calls. You're distant when you are home. He ran his hands through his hair. I'm trying here, Lena. I don't know what else to do. I stood there, disoriented. Was I missing something? Had I been neglectful without realizing? I'm sorry, I said, sitting beside him. Work has been intense, but that's no excuse. I'll do better. He nodded, wrapped his arms around me. I just want us to work. You're the best thing that's ever happened to me. Later that night, I checked my calendar. I'd been late exactly once that week, tonight, and I had texted him, but somehow I'd ended up apologizing for crimes I hadn't committed. It became a pattern. Small accusations that made me defensive. Conversations that left me feeling vaguely guilty without understanding why. Apologies for things I couldn't quite remember doing wrong. 8 months in, we moved in together. My lease was up, and it made sense financially. My friends were supportive but cautious. You've only been together 8 months, my friend Ava pointed out over coffee. I know, but it feels right. I stirred my latte. And I'm not getting any younger. She studied me. Are you happy with him? Of course, because sometimes when you talk about him, you look tense. I laughed it off. Relationships take work. We're fine. We weren't fine once we shared a living space. Ryan's behavior intensified. He'd check the mileage on my car to verify where I'd been. Question why I needed to meet friends for dinner instead of coming straight home. Asked to see my phone because he needed a restaurant number, then scroll through my texts. When I confronted him, he'd turn it around. Why are you so secretive if you have nothing to hide? I'm just trying to protect us. People cheat all the time. You're overreacting. This is normal concern. I began to shrink myself. Stopped mentioning male colleagues. Came home directly after work. Texted my whereabouts constantly. It was easier than dealing with the interrogations, the cold silences, the subtle digs that would last for days. The first time he shoved me, it wasn't dramatic. We were arguing about a dinner with his parents that I wanted to reschedule. I had a work deadline, and he insisted I was putting my job before his family. The fight escalated. I tried to walk away, and he grabbed my arm, pulled me back, then pushed me against the wall when I resisted. Not hard enough to injure, just hard enough to shock me. He apologized immediately, said he'd never done anything like that before, said I'd been pushing his buttons deliberately, said we were both at fault. And I believed him, because that's what happens. You don't see the incremental shifts. How I miss you becomes where were you? How I need reassurance becomes give me your passwords. How I'm sensitive becomes look what you made me do. I stayed another year. A year of walking on eggshells, of crafting careful responses, of managing his emotions while suppressing my own. He never hit me. Not in the way people imagine domestic violence. No black eyes, no broken bones, just strategic intimidation. A fist through the wall beside my head, a phone smashed during an argument, a grip tight enough to leave finger-shaped bruises that I'd explain away to concerned coworkers. Bumped into the counter, tripped on the stairs. I bruise easily. My friends saw the changes in me, the canceled plans, the constant phone checking, the weight loss. They tried to talk to me, but I'd defend him, because admitting what was happening meant admitting I'd made a catastrophic error in judgment. That I, educated, independent me, had become exactly the woman I'd pitted. The breaking point wasn't what you'd expect. It wasn't a dramatic fight. It wasn't him crossing some final physical line. It was a Tuesday evening in October. I was cooking dinner, his favorite, because he'd had a bad day at work, and I'd learned that preemptive appeasement was safer than damage control. He was on the couch, scrolling through my Instagram. "Who's Daniel?" he called out. My stomach dropped. Daniel was a new colleague who'd commented on a work photo. "New guy on the marketing team," I said, keeping my voice level. "He seems pretty friendly." "He's just a coworker." Ryan appeared in the kitchen doorway, my phone in his hand. "He liked 6 of your photos in 3 minutes." "I don't control what people like, Ryan. Maybe you should block him." I turned from the stove. "That would be completely unprofessional. So your job is more important than my comfort." "Got it." He tossed my phone onto the counter, where it clattered dangerously close to the edge, and then, standing there in the kitchen I'd painted myself, cooking a meal I didn't even like, I had a moment of absolute clarity. This was never going to get better. This was my life now, shrinking myself to accommodate his expanding control. And no matter how small I made myself, it would never be enough. "I'm leaving," I said. The words surprised us both. "What are you talking about?" He laughed, but his eyes were wary. "This relationship. I'm done." His expression shifted rapidly: confusion, anger, then tactical softening. "Baby, we're just having a disagreement. Don't be dramatic." "It's not a disagreement. It's a pattern." My voice was steady, though my hands were shaking. "And I'm not doing it anymore. After everything I've done for you, everything we've built." His voice rose. "You're throwing away 2 years over nothing?" "It's not nothing to me." He switched tactics, eyes welling up. "I know I can be jealous. I'm working on it. We can get counseling." "Please, Lena, I can't lose you." In previous fights, this would have been my cue to backtrack, to comfort him, to apologize for upsetting him. But something had broken inside me. Or maybe something had finally healed. "I need you to leave," I said. "This is my apartment too. I'll be gone by the weekend. But tonight, I need you out." He stood there, cycling through expressions like he was trying to find one that would work on me. When he realized none would, his face hardened. "You'll regret this," he said quietly. "No one will ever love you like I do." That was true, actually. And it was exactly why I had to leave. Getting out wasn't clean or simple. He refused to accept it was over. Showed up at my workplace. Sent hundreds of texts ranging from desperate pleas to vicious insults. Called my parents to tell them I was having a mental breakdown. Threatened suicide. When none of that worked, he threatened me. I got a restraining order. Changed my number. Moved in with my sister temporarily. The aftermath was almost harder than the relationship. Friends asking why I hadn't left sooner. Family members who'd seen the signs but hadn't known what to say. The shame of admitting how bad it had gotten. The nights I wondered if I'd overreacted, if maybe he really would have changed. 3 months after I left, I ran into a woman at a coffee shop. She worked at Ryan's company, recognized me from a holiday party. "How's Ryan?" she asked. "You two still together?" "No," I said. "We broke up a few months ago." She nodded slowly. "Makes sense. After what happened with Melissa, I figured he'd have trouble maintaining a relationship." "Melissa? His ex before you? The one who got the restraining order?" I set down my coffee. "He told me she was unstable, that she'd made up lies about him." The woman's expression softened with recognition. "Let me guess. He said she accused him of being controlling? That she had mental health issues? That she turned everyone against him?" I nodded, unable to speak. "Yeah," she said. "That's what he told us about you, too." It's been 2 years since I left. I've been through therapy, rebuilt friendships, reclaimed parts of myself I thought were gone forever. I still catch myself sometimes, hesitating before buying something he wouldn't approve of, feeling guilty about going out with friends, expecting punishment for small mistakes. Trauma doesn't end when the relationship does. People ask why I stayed so long. They want a simple answer. But there isn't one. I stayed because it happened gradually. Because each escalation was just slightly worse than the last. Never enough to trigger real alarm. Because he always apologized, and I wanted to believe him. Because I'd invested time, money, love. Because I was afraid of being alone. Because I was afraid, period. But mostly, I stayed because I kept thinking, this isn't abuse. Abuse is black eyes and broken bones. Abuse happens to other women, weak women, desperate women, uneducated women, not women like me. Now I know better. Now I know that abuse isn't just physical violence. It's isolation, surveillance, gaslighting, emotional blackmail. It's the constant anxiety of trying to prevent the next explosion. It's changing yourself to appease someone who can never be appeased. I used to think I was too smart to end up with someone like Ryan. Now I know that intelligence has nothing to do with it. Abuse doesn't discriminate based on education, income, or independence. It happens to strong women, capable women, women who never thought it could happen to them, women exactly like me. And if you're reading this, seeing yourself in my words, wondering if what you're experiencing is really bad enough to leave, it is. The moment you start asking that question, it is. Last week, I heard Ryan is engaged to a woman he's been dating for 6 months. She's a lawyer, confident and accomplished. In her social media photos, she's beaming, exactly like I was at the beginning. I thought about reaching out to warn her, but I know she wouldn't believe me. He's already told her about his crazy ex who couldn't handle his success and tried to ruin his life with false accusations. So instead, I'll tell this story, not because it will change him, men like Ryan don't change, but because somewhere, someone might recognize themselves in these words, might realize that their shrinking world isn't normal, that love shouldn't hurt, that they deserve better, and maybe they'll leave before their Tuesday in October, before they've lost too much of themselves to find their way back. Because the truth about toxic relationships isn't that they break you all at once. It's that they take you apart, piece by piece, until one day you look in the mirror and can't remember who you were before. And the hardest part of leaving isn't the logistics, the fear, or even the grief. It's believing you're still worth saving.